Today, we are diving deep into the world of marketing strategy, focusing on its crucial role in driving growth, the power of smart spending, and the importance of genuine audience connection.
And from having worked with the whole spans of big and small clients, I think there are some real practical tips that we can unpack that will help our listeners and clients.
I believe that consistency is crucial, especially in communications, for building lasting relationships and fostering trust with your audience.
Small businesses typically face
Yeah.
is having limited people in marketing and so many channels to manage. And so the small team is juggling like 5 different channels.
Hello there, business owners and marketing leaders. Are you feeling overwhelmed by marketing complexity or budget constraints? Remember, a strong strategy, smart spending, and focusing on solving customer problems are key to building a successful brand. Hi, this is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, where we explore the essential strategies and insights that empower businesses to not just survive, but truly thrive in the digital age. Today, we are diving deep into the world of marketing strategy, focusing on its crucial role in driving growth, the power of smart spending, and the importance of genuine audience connection. Now, recent trends highlight the increasing complexity of digital landscape, making it vital for businesses to move beyond scattered tactics towards a cohesive and data-driven approach. This discussion will provide valuable insights for entrepreneurs seeking to build a strong brand, connect with their customers, and achieve sustainable success. Joining us today is Sean Mathews, Director, Marketing Strategy at Nascent, a team of strategists, designers, and developers who help companies bring their digital products to life and build things that last. So, before further ado, let's welcome him. Sean, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for having me today.
It's our pleasure.
And I loved what you talked about. Marketing can really get complex in today's world,
Yeah.
right? And from having worked with the whole spans of big and small clients, I think there are some real practical tips that we can unpack that will help our listeners and clients approach marketing a little bit with a lot more clarity and intent.
Definitely, and that is why I'm super excited for this conversation. Now, Sean, to build a sustainable and impactful business, it's important to understand the difference between long term planning and short term actions, right? So, let's start by understanding why do you need a strong brand marketing in the first place, right? And are there any specific digital strategies that you recommend to all the SME owners out there?
That's a very good question. You talked about brand marketing and digital
Yeah.
in the same breath,
Uh-huh.
right? But they perform very different roles,
Right.
right? Like the brand strategy, what's important about it is that it helps the people who you really want to serve
Mhm.
care about you,
Right.
right? So there's a lot of emotional equity in that, right?
Right.
When it comes to marketing, it's more about ensuring that there's clear differentiation, there's relevance, there's messaging that resonates, and all
Yeah.
of those kind of things, right? Um, and that as well builds a relationship with the client. So there's the logical side of the brain that you appeal to, and then it's the emotions that you
Right.
appeal to. Somehow the emotions are a little bit stronger when people decide, right? And then finally, with a strong digital strategy, what you're trying to do is make sure that you're reaching out to the right people at the right time,
Right.
right?
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, looking at the whole landscape of what's going on out there, it can be a little complex. But that's when you need to keep yourself focused, right?
Exactly.
I've seen, like you said, short-term tactics versus long-term strategy,
Right.
right? And I've come across a lot of clients who are forced by nature of having to deliver numbers every month, or they could be a startup, they could be a small business who don't know how to really approach marketing,
Right.
right? And as a result of which is let's build a website, let's get to Facebook, let's do a
Right.
post,
Right.
right? And
Just
those
add
are
noise to the existing noise that is there on the internet.
right. You're
Yeah.
you're it's like throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
As opposed to approaching it with a little bit more intent,
Right.
right? Now, I understand the need for those companies, small companies or startups, to be scrappy, right? This is a word that we've often heard in the startup world as well as with small business. Oh, we need to be scrappy, we need to be agile, we need to be fast, right? And I would just like to break that word down into two parts. That word has S right at the beginning,
Right.
which should typically stand for strategy,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Because the moment you drop that S, the word scrappy becomes crappy,
Right.
right? And that's exactly what you're putting out there.
Wow, that's
Right.
a very interesting and vivid analogy. It clearly illustrates why a clear roadmap is so important. Before diving into execution, and it's evident. Strategy is the compass for your lasting success.
Look at it like, if we talk about the chaos that's out there,
Yeah.
right? That's the ocean and the storm,
Right.
right? Are you going to build a raft to get across? Is it going to help you weather the storm? Probably not, right? Building a ship might take you a little bit more time,
Right.
but it's going to help you get across.
Wow, I
Right.
just love your analogies. You're just making it, seem so relevant and so comfortable. So thank you for that. Now, oftentimes, a lot of small business owners are on a budget, right? So for all the people who are listening and they'll be particularly interested, how do you market efficiently without spending too much or giving a lot of allocation to your marketing budget?
So it's not just small businesses that are on a budget.
Right.
Everybody's on a budget. It's only relative, right? Big people have bigger budgets because that's the way they approach
Right.
their business. They've been established for a longer time, right? But it doesn't mean that you don't have a budget. You have a small budget,
Right.
So the question is, what do you do with your small budget,
Right.
right? And I would say that it's more about when you look at marketing for small businesses who's on a budget,
Yeah.
it's about choosing the minimum viable set of people that you can effectively serve and delight,
Right.
right? So if you try to be everything for everyone, you end up being nothing for anyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I think the best way for small businesses to start is to have a very clear understanding of who their customer is and who they are serving, right? Asking the question, who am I really for,
Right.
right? And
What is this? What is the problem that is getting solved by this?
for who?
Yeah, for who?
Starting with
Yes.
first who,
Yeah.
right? And when you look at that, people love to go with demographics and say, I'm for a 35 to 40 or 50-year-old, and they try to put some income statements and all of that.
Right.
But I think what really enriches the understanding is even in that age group, you've got people with different lifestyles, different
Exactly.
needs,
Right.
right? And so approaching it based on what I'm trying to offer, who's the audience that has that need that I can solve better than anyone else, right? And that brings us to the conversation of differentiation, right? Today is the day when, day and time when anything can be ripped off very quickly,
Yes.
right? And so the question is, you're building an understanding of why I'm better than someone else.
Right.
That will help you sustain for a longer time in the market.
Exactly. What is your own USP, your own unique selling point?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's often what gets you the attention, right? What is marketing is about getting people's trust, getting
Right.
their attention,
Right.
and making sure that they keep coming back to you, right?
That's very well said. And on that, I'd also like you to highlight, are there any specific tools or specific tactics or any trends that you're seeing right now that you want our listeners to be aware of and take action on them?
I mean, the tools and the frameworks always remain the same.
Yeah.
What you put into it makes a difference,
Right.
right? And so, I would start off with first, we talked about understanding the customer.
Yeah.
And I would say, deep dive into understanding not just the demographics, but their lifestyle, their pain points, their motivators,
Right.
right? There's many ways of how you look at it. There's the jobs to be done framework. There's also the need-based segmentation that you could look at.
Yes.
We find that very effective, the need-based segmentation, because it helps you understand the priority of needs and what is being underserved in the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one nugget in terms of customer understanding. But then it comes to the second part, which is how do you then take that understanding and pitch it back at them, right?
Right.
And so you've got the value proposition framework that could be used.
Hmm.
And then I would say that once you've got your value props in place, it's all about how do you translate that content and put it out there. It's not just about, yes, we'll talk about paid ad spends and those kind of things,
Right.
but the first thing is about
Yeah.
making sure that your story is coherent and
Exactly.
synergized across platforms, right?
Definitely, I totally agree with you. I think it's the storytelling in the marketing that grabs people's attention, and once you're able to do that, majority of your part of the sales part is done, right? Because you don't have to convince them.
I mean, it makes them, marketing primes them for better
Right.
selling, right? Like at the end of
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
day, marketing might bring you some people.
Yes.
You might realize as a salesperson that this is not the person who I want to sell to. And
Right.
that's fine,
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
That helps us refine our understanding of who we should be attracting.
No, definitely. I completely agree with you. And that's incredibly practical and empowering advice for small businesses. It shifts the focus from simply spending money blindly to genuinely understanding and serving the customer's needs. Hello there, business owners and marketing leaders. Are you feeling overwhelmed by marketing complexity or budget constraints? Remember, a strong strategy, smart spending, and focusing on solving customer problems are key to building a successful brand. Well, let's get back to our conversation with Sean and discuss audience and messaging. Is there any tip that you want our listeners to take away? What should they do after listening to this podcast about their marketing? What should they rethink?
I would say not one tip, I would give them three tips,
Sure.
right? One is think strategy before tactics,
Yeah.
right? Because if you're not sharpening your thinking, you're just going to waste your money anyway,
Right.
right? Um, the second one is about budgets, right? We talked about budgets a little bit, and budget is not about how big or small.
Right.
It's about how focused and strategic you are with it,
Right.
right? And the third point I would leave them with is that engagement comes from being relevant. The more you think, if you start talking about features and your product, you've lost it.
Right.
You've got to interpret everything in the world of your consumers, right? People are buying, they are not buying products, they are
Yeah.
buying beliefs. They are
Right.
buying beliefs in a solution, a promise, and something emotional or feeling that you're giving them,
Right.
right? And that's why sometimes you choose one product over another,
Yeah.
and people wonder why are they
Yeah. Just
gravitating
because of the
towards that.
way it makes you feel from
Yeah.
deep inside. Yeah.
Like even with us, the experience working with Nascent, we try to make it different from every other consulting, right? You know, we talk a lot about how should our clients feel when they interact with us,
Right.
right? And that's a part of that feel for the brand.
Oh, that's very well said. I love it. Now, let's expand a little more on understanding your audience, right? Because that is the key, as you said correctly, is to making that connection and stand out in a crowded marketplace. Uh, Once again, if you could highlight and a little more detailed into how small business owners define their audience and avoid generic messaging to resonate with their target market. We were talking about noise. So what is that noise, and how do you get that? Put that on the side.
The only thing that combats noise is clarity,
Yeah.
right? And so when you might spend a little bit more time understanding your audience a lot more, because there's so much to unpack in that, right? Like we start first with understanding their pain points, their gains, their jobs to be done, all of
Right.
those kind of things.
Right.
And then we start translating that into needs that they have. Then you have a second layer of how you look at those needs and say, okay, which ones are actually important to them and which is being underserved by competition.
Hmm.
So that helps you create those gaps that you can own,
Right.
and you've got to own it and talk about it for a while before people understand that, okay, this is the difference between you versus others,
Hmm.
right? And so I think we believe a lot in the need-based segmentation, right? Because it connects with consumers a lot more
Right.
than universal kind of statements that
Right.
we
You know,
make,
it
right?
is also it's a priority for them,
Yeah.
so it makes a difference.
And how does that relate to messaging?
Yeah.
It's when you have don't avoid generic messaging, right?
Right.
So many people are fond of saying, "My product helps you save time,"
Right.
right? But as a consumer, my next question is, how much time,
Hmm.
right? So if I say it helps you save 8 hours in a week, I understand.
Right.
Now the question is, why should I believe you?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So messaging has those layers of
Hmm.
making sure that it's specific, after which it's substantiated,
Hmm.
right? So that people believe. The whole thing is about trust and believability.
Wow, the way you put things, again, it's so relatable and so understandable. All right, it's time for a quick break right here, but stay tuned, don't go anywhere, as we'll be diving into how to create deeper connections with your audience through consistent engagement and the right channels.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. Still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep. Healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah. Well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep. That's all us. That's all UPS.
Welcome back, guys. Let's continue our conversation with Sean and explore how small businesses can manage digital channels effectively to build lasting customer relationships. I believe that consistency is, crucial, especially in communications for building lasting relationships and fostering trust with your audience, as you said. With so many digital channels for small and medium businesses out there, especially for the marketing segments of theirs, how would you recommend that they manage these channels effectively? How should small businesses prioritize and focus on channels?
I love this question because what small businesses typically face
Yeah.
is having limited people in marketing
Yeah.
and so many channels to manage.
Hmm.
And so the small team is juggling like 5 different channels,
Right.
right? The point about channels is that it's not about you being omnipresent.
Yeah.
It's about you being present with purpose.
Yes. And at the right place.
Right place, right time. So if I look at the landscape of channels for any business,
Yeah.
the first priority is always your own channels, right?
Mhm.
Your website, your social pages,
Right.
your
The digital
emails,
presence. Yeah.
your newsletters,
Yeah.
anything that you own,
Right.
right? And so you need to put enough effort in that one, right? Then comes a point about which social channel I should be on, for example,
Hmm.
right? And it depends on your business,
Right.
right? If you're a B2B, it would be LinkedIn. If you're a home decor client, it would be Pinterest or it's TikTok or wherever, right?
Right.
But I think the way to identify which channel you should be on is based on the business objectives, right? What are you are you trying to build brand? And, if it's conversion, it's probably a different approach to things,
Right.
right? But I would say, like, let's say we are a B2B business.
Mhm.
Our dominant channel is LinkedIn,
Right.
right? But we do have a secondary channel, which is Instagram,
Instagram.
which is meant for our culture. So we are very clear about what purpose, right? What is the purpose of what we being present on
Right.
Instagram
So the
for
kind
us
of vibe on both the
will
platforms
be
will
very
totally
different,
different. Yeah.
very different.
Yeah.
And so I would say, like, when they're prioritizing channels, number one, own channels. Number two, have one channel that goes deep, your
Right.
core channel, right? Then you have another channel, which is your experimental channel,
Right.
right? And so you manage that in cycles. You become a master of one,
Right.
then you migrate to the experiment, master that, move to the next. Because what happens is then a team knows how to operate on one,
Right.
right? But then there's another dimension to it, is also the capabilities of the team,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when you're prioritizing your channels, you can easily create like a 2x2 matrix, which is relevance of the channel
Right.
and capability of us delivering content
Right.
on that channel
Right.
consistently.
You play with the strengths and weaknesses
Right.
accordingly.
So if our team has people who can do video well, great, let's
Right.
go.
Right.
Or else we'll do more long form written,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then you'll depend which channel you are on.
Right. Wow, that is a great perspective. Prioritizing channels smartly, helps smaller teams stay focused and engage more effectively. So thank you for highlighting that. Now, let's explore how small businesses can leverage data to drive growth and make smarter marketing decisions. Understanding your customers' behavior and needs is key to unlocking meaningful insights, right? That can drive smarter marketing decisions. So, where should small businesses start with data to inform marketing, and how can brands make decisions without getting overwhelmed by data? Because for a small business owner, when you hear the word data, all you can imagine is numbers. So, how do you organize that in your mind first and then in your actions?
So this is a very interesting question, right? Because when the moment you mention data, everyone believes that you need to become a data scientist,
Right.
right? So that's not the goal. The goal is to help you make better decisions, right? And so, with something interesting you said is like when you say data, you see a lot of numbers,
Yeah.
and that's because you're looking at dashboards,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
If you're in likening it to driving a car, if you're looking at the dashboard, you're not looking at the windscreen,
Right.
right? And so what's the windscreen? The windscreen is having a clear understanding of your audience, your consumer, right? And so the data that you look at should help you understand how they are reacting to your communications. How are they going through the journey of purchase, right? When
Right.
they come to your website,
Right.
what kind of
Are they engaged or
content they
not?
are
Yeah.
engaging with,
Yeah.
where they are dropping off with, right? And then finally, how are they converting, right? If you just start with that clear understanding, you're already saving a lot of money that you would have wasted and,
Right.
and spent because you don't have that understanding,
Right. Right.
right? I've seen so many clients talk about, why do we need a great website? We could get a WordPress website done.
Right.
Yes, fine. If that's your goal, what if you want to scale? Can that website support you, right? So understanding what's your growth goals,
Trajectory. Yeah.
right? What do you need? Like, if I'm not going to try to sell you a Ferrari, if you're a guy who wants, you will be happy with a Toyota,
Right. Of course. Yeah.
right? And so it's for clients to get clarity about what they want, where they are going in the next 3 to 5 years, where they want to take their business, and whatever strategies they are coming up with, does it support that growth, right?
Right.
You're not building, you're building today for the future, but you'll make smaller swings.
Right.
But you need to have that long-term perspective so that you know that the swing you're making today will actually punch tomorrow, right?
Wow. Definitely, that's very interesting. And very interestingly, my next question to you was going to be this. So, if I were to give you a time machine right now and say you were to travel 5 or 10 years into the future, how exactly would you envision Nascent's future? What do you see when you get off the time machine?
That's a very interesting one, because none of us know how the world is going to change.
Exactly, especially with AI coming into the place right
Yeah,
now.
with the way things are. I think the one thing that knowing Nascent as a brand,
Yeah.
and knowing what we do, we hold very dear to us the consumer and the humanness to everything, right? So I see Nascent as a big advocate for not losing the humanness in the experience, right? Because that's our core business, right? Even with AI coming around, AI will try to make things efficient.
Right. It's not here to replace the humans, but to aid them and make them more efficient and take
But
over the repetitive
we
tasks.
bring that human understanding to the whole
Yes.
thing, right? I'm sure people will say that AI over time will understand humans better than humans understand themselves. But there are some abstracts, and I don't know what they are. But I'm sure that there's a need for a human experience advocate in the future.
Definitely, definitely. I completely agree with you. And the future looks very promising. With that, if there's, before we let you go, and I'm loving this conversation and I don't want this to come to an end, so we'll do another episode with you very soon. But before we do that, if there's one key advice that you want our listeners to take away from this entire conversation today, one final piece of core advice to all the small and medium business owners, what would it be and why?
I would say focus a lot more on strategy, right? It's underrated, right? Or rather, it's not focused on enough. Maybe they know the value of it. Some situations might be they don't know how to go about it. They don't have the right help, whatever be it, right? And whoever would bring that help, but get the help if you don't have it. But don't dismiss it because you don't know how it works, right?
Wow, that is a very core piece of advice. Also, as I understand, you worked across 5 countries, right, in countless industries. So what's that one universal truth about brand and marketing, Sean, that always holds? And what do you think people misunderstand most about marketing today? Just bust this myth and yeah.
I would say from the best, the most performant brands,
Yeah.
right, has created like a great emotional platform for themselves,
Hmm.
right? I see a lot less of that these days, and I think we need to bring it back
Right.
to the emotions, to the humanness
Hmm.
of how we communicate, right? I think most often it's about it tends to gravitate towards performance, right? But my view about performance versus brand
Hmm.
is that they both have to work hand in hand,
Hmm.
right? But brand makes performance perform better,
Wow. That is one
right? Like if
sentence.
you look at a graph of performance, every time you pump money, you'll see a spike.
Yeah.
But when you invest in brand, it's like a step ladder. It
Right.
keeps going up,
Organically. Yeah.
right? So you're bringing in more people who believe in your cause into
Hmm.
the funnel so that performance can convert better,
Hmm.
right? and
Right.
and every good marketing company knows this and they operate that way,
Right.
right? um, Unfortunately, there may be some companies who don't have that perspective or the knowledge to do it.
Right.
And I'm sure there's tons of consultants out there who can help guide them, right? I just think they must see the importance of hiring those people.
Very well said. All right, that was Sean Matthew, you guys. Sean, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. It was an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast.
Thank you very much, and I'm really passionate about this subject,
Yeah.
so happy to talk to you anytime.
All right, that was an insightful conversation with Sean Mathews, Director of Marketing Strategy at Nascent. Critical role of strategic marketing, smart budgeting, and authentic audience engagement for small business growth. Nascent help companies bring their digital products to life, whether that's a smarter app, a faster website, digital evolution, or a better customer experience for your customers. They're a team of strategists, designers, and developers who care just as much about the humans using the technology as the technology itself. From idea to execution, they work shoulder to shoulder with their clients to solve complex problems, move quickly, and build things that last. Every project is a chance to build something better together. Thank you so much to all the listeners for tuning into the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. We really appreciate your continued support. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more expert insights and resources that can help your business thrive. Also, don't forget to visit our website, CanadianSME.ca. And lastly, a very special thank you to our podcast partners, RBC, UPS, A1 Global College, and Google for their ongoing commitment to empowering SMEs in Canada. Until next time, keep innovating and striving for success, and we'll see you in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.